Sorry, all. I just realized I had my mute button on. That should be better than yabbering to myself. And I haven't done that before. Oh, my bad. I normally check that before I start, but I was distracted with getting my tea ready. Yeah, this is where we'll finish binding down those tag ends. I'm gonna bring this right to the back on my side here. Get about 3 or 4 really good wraps right there, and then we'll bring it back again. This is where we'll tie in our Fentex. Which I have floating around here. There we go. Well, this is a 3-strand red, somewhat more vintage Fentex. This one's probably from about the 80s. You can use chenille, you can use red wool, whatever you like. I'm just gonna capture that in right here. There we go. Okay, I'm actually going to get this up in the material clip, and then we'll do a 1/2 hitch. Or 2 1/2 hitches in this case. That'll get it up in the bobbin holder. And we can hand wrap this without pulling out the tinsel. 1 second. Come on, tinsel. There we go. There we go. I'm just gonna hand wrap this back with separating wraps here. So I'm kind of skipping a wrap each time. I'm just going back a third. Got a couple fibers broke loose there. That's great. We'll get to them. And then when I'm coming back, I'm gonna go in between those wraps that we did before, so that it's nice and even. Hopefully that makes sense. There we go. I will end up with like a little bullet head thorax. You can skip that if you like to have just a straight, smooth body. Feel free to do that as well. Typically, if I got a like a wet hackle or any type of wing or hackle up front, I like to have a little bit of a thorax bump. Just helps them stand out a bit. Gives something for it to push up against. A little more shape and liveliness in the water. There we go. I like that tail's looking really good. Oh, actually, before we grab the tinsel, we're gonna do another 1/2 inch so we get that up in the wrapper here. Okay, we're gonna be counter wrapping. This is the opposite direction that we were wrapping the first. Morning. Getting up this little ledge can be a bit of a pain sometimes. Really, buddy? Come on. And this one's being particularly fuzzy. I could have smoothed out that thread or the thorax bump a little bit there, I suppose. There we go. That's good enough. Oop, as it wraps all over my bobbin. No. Stop. Good to have you in, Dusted. Doing a Skykomish Sunrise today. Little salmon head, steelhead streamer. Ha! I don't have any snow. That's been part of my problem. It's been too bloody warm here. We're unseasonably warm. We only got down to minus like, what was it, 23 or 28 for like 3 days. We're just sitting at like the we're just sitting at like the freezing point to minus 10 overnight kind of right now, but we haven't had any snow. Like my grass is starting to stick through, which is crazy for mid-January. I mean, we still got all of February to go, but it's definitely overly warm. Okay, so let's see here. Do we have an overwing on this one? Oh, we do. We got some bucktail. In this case, I'm just going to be using this roe deer here. Yeah, like we have some snow, but like this time of year, I'd have like 4 feet of ice on the lake, like at least, if not more, and up to like 7 or so feet of snow. This time of year, we're trying to figure out where to put the snow is normally the problem. Like we just run out of places to shovel it to, because our piles get too high. Yeah, I can't remember a season that's been. Can't remember a winter that's been like this my whole lifetime, to be honest. So we're definitely breaking some records. It's been a lot easier on my wood pile, though, I will say that. Got lots of wood left. We have been getting like a lot of moisture too. It's just been sticking around in rain form, so we're not like in a drought or anything. The lakes and rivers are actually at a good level. And I'm just gonna clean this out, this first bit by the waste basket here, because stuff gets everywhere. Okay, that's kind of like what I'm shooting for right there. I want a big tuft on this. It's right down kind of like the middle. You want most of it to be ending at like the middle of the tail. I'm going to try and pre-shorten this, see if that works for me this time. Pre-cut it. Okay, that's looking good for length. Just tidy that up a bit. I'm just going to bring my thread up. I'll be tying this in by getting the thread about halfway through here. This isn't a very slippy material, so it's not super necessary, but it will give me a better bite on it. Yeah, I did hear that they were calling for a good dump, and that people were like grabbing all the food out of the grocery stores and toilet paper and all the regular things people go crazy over. It's like it's winter, just keep an extra thing of toilet paper in your house. You're good. Doesn't go bad or anything. Don't understand. I'm just gonna try and clean that up a little bit here. I understand the stocking up. I don't understand the panic buying. I mean, COVID was a little bit different because we didn't really know what we were gonna deal with and how long and all that stuff. But if you got a snowstorm coming in, it's just a snowstorm, man. It's gonna eventually go away. The thread slipped a bit there. We're gonna bind this in. I'm building up the head in the middle, so I got a little bit flatter spot to tie the hackle in on. There we go. Yeah, that's always good. She looks good on this side. A little fluffy on this side, but we're gonna run with it. Overall, she looks good though. Happy with that. Okay, so we got a mix hackle. I'm gonna pull off some more of these fronds here on either side. So we don't need that much hackle for this. And I'm gonna save those for my next tail. Instead of tossing them. This rake seems a little slippy, so I'm actually going to use my hemostats here. And just crush the racus a bit with the hemostats. That'll add a little bit of a, probably not going to show up on the camera, but it'll add a little bit of rigidity and teeth to it, so it's not going to slip as bad. There would be. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with the yellow. I'm probably not gonna use like half of these. I'm only need a couple wraps. And we're gonna take the same thing. We're gonna take a little bit more of the yellow for the next tail. I'm just putting these in my stacker for now. I'm not going to form the tail right now, I'm just kind of mushing them together so they don't go flipping all over the place. But that'll be our tail for the next one. Now the sun's just starting to peak up. I can hear all the roosters waking up. There we go. Oh, nice shock yellow. Let's get that. Already had it out. There we go. Just gonna crush this as well. You don't have to go crazy with it. It really just needs some basic light pressure on that just to dent in the. There we go. Okay, we'll tie this one in as well. Okay, I'm just gonna bury that rake just a little bit. Not so much so it doesn't show, but I don't want it catching the wraps. There we go. Alright, so we're just doing a light wrap for both of these. I'm gonna get some hackle pliers here actually. And where's my little hackle pliers? Little hackle pliers, I choose you. There we go. And that's very true. That's why they're red and blue. Okay, so I'm just doing 2 wraps there, so we don't need a whole lot. This is just an accent hackle. Catch that off. Try not to make too much of a mess of it. Oh, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's hope we got this tied off enough. Feels like, oop, maybe I don't. Okay, hold tight. It slipped on me. Let's do that again. Wow, it's really slippy. Okay, hold tight. Try that again. Everything looked fine until I tried to tie it off. We are just going for like 2 wraps here because the red's gonna go in there as well. Wow, why are you slipping so bad, mate? Let's try that again. I feel like I got it cut off, but I'm clearly not. Here, tell you what. I'll let you have a break, and we'll do our red first. And you can be fussy all you want after, because I can just tie you right in. Well, this one feels good too. It's got a second wrap on it just because that first hackle was acting up so bad. But it feels good. Okay. I'm gonna leave just a little longer tag on here. It's gonna get all buried back anyway. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna try and get a good 1 or 2 wraps behind this here, just because this is the second wrap. Yeah, that's a good point. I really thought about that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is exactly what it means. I had to actually look that up before I started the stream because I looked at it and I was like, that looks a lot like Squamish, which is like a term from here. From the Squamish people, obviously. And I was like, I don't want to mispronounce that because I'm like, it looks like Skykomish, but I'm not 100%. So I had to have a boo and look it up. And that's exactly what the internet's told me. So it must be true. Oh my gosh. Stay put. Come on now, I'm just trying to tie you off. You don't gotta be like that. Trying to walk my thread up that head a little bit without capturing too many in. That's probably far enough. Could be better. But again, as long as this one's captured in, I'm not worried about it because I can come back in there and clean it up. So it's the second hackle. Don't like to trap in more than I need to though. Skykomish. I think that's the best I could look up and find, so I do try to get my pronunciations correct ever since I did Puget sound wrong and did it as Puget. I knew better. But that's one of the things that happens when you're tying flies at 4 in the morning. Alright, there we go. That's a pretty colorful fly. I quite like that actually. Okay, so we're gonna bend these back as it is tied more in like a wet fly style. So as I'm building my head back, it's going to just keep most of those back. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. Just moisten my fingers. I know, that's what I thought at the time. But then I realized, I was like, oh my god, of course it's Puget Sound, not Puget. What am I doing? Yeah, I can see why this was a really effective fly. I always like these kind of sunburst, orange and red patterns. They just always resonate with me, even if they don't have to. That's closer to what I want. That's better. I just want that slight cone shape. It's not being fished as a dry fly, so that's fine. And we'll have a nice, thick, bulbous head on it too, which is also what I like. Get 2 half edges and a whip finish on there, and we'll be good to go. Straighten out a little bit. There we go. This redhead did seem to creep forward a little bit on me at some point there. But the eye is still perfectly clear, so we'll call it good. And I'm just going to break out the Sharpie for the odd little tufts I have coming through from the hackles. Especially with yellow and red. Don't want them bleeding through. Mostly on my side though. Your guys' side turned out pretty good. Just have a rakist or two kind of popping through, but so much easier to just hit it up with Sharpie than sit there and try and bury it till you overdo your head. There we go. She's a pretty girl. Yeah, let's see here. Alright, so you're not sitting quite right. That's better. You know, it's gonna get that head cement a second to soak in. Whatever you're cooking there, dear, smells mighty good. Making me hungry. There we go. Gloss it up a little bit. It's gonna take a minute to dry on that one. Good day, casual. Good to have you in, mate. Just gonna have a drink of tea here while we let this set a little bit. Yeah, she got some pretty colors to her, don't she? Okay. Oh yeah, gonna do my spin and spiel here. It feels like it's set up enough. It's still a little wet. And in the vise today we have Skykomish Sunrise. This one's tied on a size 6 long shank Aberdeen hook. You can tie it anywhere from a 12 all the way up to a 2. The tail is a mixed yellow and red hackle fibers with a red Fentex body wrapped up with a flat silver tinsel all the way up to the top, and a white overwing of roe deer hair. You can use just regular white tail is fine, or polar bear if you have some. And a hackle of red and yellow mixed together to make that nice bright sunburst orange when it's mixed together. Wonderful, cool, colorful little pattern. Should have a couple of these in your box, eh? It was originally tied by after World War II by George McLeod, and it was suggested by his brother Ken McLeod. It was named for the color of the February sunrises in the Skykomish River Valley. Wonderful little fly. Add a couple to your box, eh? Excuse me. More tea. There we go. Yeah, it's a good looking fly. We did a very similar one. It was some other kind of sunset or sunrise. Thank you, Dusted. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at the whole spin and spiel thing now. It's taking some practice. It's a little bit hard for my brain to catch up on all the word stuff, especially when it's early morning. Yeah, I can do brown trout, brook trout, in these smaller sizes it would be. It was originally fished, the gentleman who originally tied it was fishing for steelhead mostly in the inlet rivers. I mean, most of the things that steelhead are going to nail that you're going to get with brown trout and brook trout and rainbow trout and all that too are going to hit them up the same. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. It's a pretty fly though. Quite enjoy that one. I think the next one I do, I'm not going to do the thorax bump though, even though it does help the wings sit better. I'm just going to do a straight body on it. I didn't taper the thorax bump enough. So the tinsel went a little bit wompy on me. Yeah, it reminds me of the other ones we were doing, like these guys. They were something sunsets. I don't remember the full name off the top of my head. Yeah, lots of very similar. Yeah, and like really with brook trout and brown trout, that red and the orange or yellow just always works really well. Like it's just going to be an attractor for them. They can't stand it. I think that's dry enough. I just need to find me a cork that has some room in it. Probably get them beside these Mohicans here, maybe. There, you can go live between the sofa pillows and the Mohicans. For now, I need to get a few more corks out. There she is. There's some of the other ones we were doing the other day. Those ones turned out well too. Were those guys yesterday? Or a few days ago? A little yellow. I'm on a bit of an orange-yellow kick here, apparently, according to the book. Yeah, there we go. We've got another one done. Got time. I'm gonna go a little quicker with this one, though. Not like rushing or anything, but don't need to explain every single step like I was doing the first time with my mic off, mind you. Nimby's never done that before. That was the first for everything. Whew, I caught my finger. These are just like an off-brand long shank hook, but they're wicked sharp. I have to admit they are not friendly if you get your finger near that hook. They're just cat claw sharp. Way sharper than I was expecting, to be honest. Normally you gotta kind of hand sharpen. I always carry a little stone with me, especially when I'm creek fishing, because it bangs all over the place. Then I can tidy up the hook point. Okay, about 3 wraps back. That'll secure it in. Yeah, these guys are just, whew. Caught myself a few times on that point there. It's just crazy sharp. This one's not as bad as some of the other ones I pulled up, but it's still wicked. So congrats to whatever company I got these from. I don't recall off the top of my head. I have them just a no-name container now. Unless someone like requests a specific brand hook, I don't really much care for keeping track of the brands and everything. The only time I'll do that is like the vintage Mustang hooks. I keep them in the original boxes. Because there's lots of fishermen around here that I don't even have to look up to know that was dusted. Thank you for that one. So I mix these together a little bit. Mix these together a little bit, but I want the yellow to be just a hair more on the bottom than on the top. Like that. And of course on the camera it looks like it's on the top and the bottom, but do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, it looks really good from my side. That's good. I'll just fish this only on the right side of the stream instead of the left, and then it'll be fine. Okay, so we're gonna pull this up. Just gonna cut the racuses off. We'll tie that in. The body material is gonna hide any of these anyway, but we're not really doing that to build up any body or anything. Just really quick and dirty. Remind me what ASP is, sorry. I think you mentioned that before. When I felt silly, I couldn't remember the acronym. No rush at all. Every species has their color, kind of basic color combo. Like you got your chartreuse, light blue, greens for your crappie and your smaller kind of bait fish. You're going up. Yeah, I feel like I should know that. I think we might have talked about this. I don't know if it was with you or someone else. If it's about 60 centimeters long and it's feeding on minnow patterns, pretty much for any species that's feeding on minnows or other fish, so it's a whitefish. My dog wants to go outside, so I'll be right back, guys. 1 second here. I'll throw up some pre-recorded fly tying for you for a second while I get my dog outside. There we go, and we're back. It's pretty cold out, so I don't think he's going to want to stay out there too long. Okay. Tie in some of this here, same as last time. I like my Fentex. It's very versatile stuff. Yeah, sorry, dog interrupted me there. Any fish that's feeding on other fish, so bait fish, is going to be attracted. And again, this is generalizing, because I don't fish for those guys, obviously, and all I can do is generalize. But I think I'm on the right track. If they're feeding on other fish, so they're a predator, they're going to key in on the fish's movement and weaknesses and profile. So you want to have something that's roughly the same profile size as the minnows it would be eating, or the bait fish it would be eating. So generally speaking, that's going to be a larger fly, like from this size 6 up to 2 plus, right? And most of the time you're going to want that splayed out shape. Yeah, someone else asked, I'm sure it was like a week or two ago, asked about these, and I had to look it up because it's not my jam. Yeah, there's like 3 things that you want to have, and then you can mix and match that to your personalization, because there's no right or wrong answer for it, right? Excuse me. More tea. So the 3 things you want are shape. So basically tapering to the middle, flopping off to the end where you'd have your fins. So like a cigar shape. Like most bait fish are shaped that way. The second thing you're going to want is color. So generally, color doesn't matter as much as the way the color is presented. So you're going to have a darker color on the top and a lighter color on the bottom. So most bait fish have a darker top, so when predators are looking down on them from the top, it looks like the same color as whatever the mud is. And if things are looking up from the bottom, again, predators from the bottom, they see a light color, which looks like the surface of the water. So you generally need to have a 2-tone fly or bait. Okay, dog wants back in. I'm just going to let him in here. Come on, doggo. In you go. Come on, come on. Alright, so you need to have a two-tone bait for the most part. So, bucktail works really well for that. Do I have a bucktail kicking around? No, I don't have a bucktail kicking around. I do have a squirrel tail. Just gonna have to stand in for a bucktail for now. So, thankfully, nature helps us with a lot of different things. But one thing nature helps us with... No worries. One thing nature helps us with is when fly tying, a lot of things that work with one species works for another. So for instance, with, pretend this is a bucktail. I know it's all blotchy and it's not exactly the same as a bucktail. But on a bucktail, you're going to have your light colors on the outside, just like you have this light orange on the outside and a darker strip in the middle. Again, that's to break up the outline of the animal. And it works the same for the fish, the minnow, as it does for the squirrel in this case. So when you're pulling something out, and again, this isn't the right material, but this is what we're looking for. So you want to have material that has, in this case, with squirrel, we got a darker inside and a lighter outside. So if this was bucktail, you'd have two separate fibers, one white and one brown. So you got to use your imagination, but you'd want to create this pattern where you have a darker top. So you'd lay your dark hair up top and your light hair on the bottom. And squirrel tail is not the best example, but it's transposed. But I think you get what I'm going at. You want to tie your lighter material on the bottom and your dark material on the top. Now the other thing that you want to have in there is bait fish are flashy. So you want to add some kind of flash. And it doesn't need to be a lot. This is just something that the fish are going to key in on. This is probably entirely too big, but it may not be. So you can have something like this and just tie in like 2 or 3 strands of this coming off the back or along the side. And that will imitate the flash of light that you're going to get from the scales as it's flipping around and doing its fish thing. Especially if it's injured, it's going to flip around even more. And if you need to throw more light, you can take something that's flat like this, put them in your... Oop, you can drop it on the floor. Okay, let me grab another one. You can take some hemostats or pliers or whatever you got kicking around, doesn't matter terribly much, and crush it. And that's going to throw in some variations on there. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. You can see how it's throwing light differently, more like scales now, and in different directions. It just changes the directional pattern of the light flow, which will give you a lot better, more representation to scales. And of course you can buy it pre-done like that, of course. And if you're doing bait fish patterns, that's probably what you're going to go with. And one step up from that is to twist your material. So you can do that with the edge of your scissors, you can do it with a knife. But this is just a flat tinsel that's twisted. And you can have a couple of these tied in on either side. So 3 or 4, you don't need a whole lot. Again, just to throw a little bit of light, so when this is moving through the water, the fish will see that, key in on it, and bite it. No worries. Okay, Casual, you have a good one, eh? Sorry to get sidetracked there, just helping him out a bit. Oh, actually, let's throw, I don't recall if I threw a half hitch on there, so let's do that. Get this fly moving again. There we go. Just getting that first wrap by hand there. Stay away from that hook point. I flattened the first 2 wraps out there too as well. Not that you need to, but it'll help with that little thread bump that you get from tying the tail in, so you have a nice even body there. We're going with a flat body, so I don't have trouble with the tinsel this time. You can probably get 2 flies out of one of these lengths. I might try that later. But for camera purposes, we're just going to go with the full length. Less chance of me making mistakes. Okay, one more half hitch there. And that wrapped pretty well. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. It's symmetrical, yada yada. Most of your body wraps like that are going to be more to do with how well you made the body flat, because any difference in the body is going to cause it to go left and right for the most part. Alright, got a little sidetracked here, so we need to get the wing tied next. So again, we're going to use this white roe deer. I don't have a whole lot of it left, to be honest. So there's just this little patch on the side. It's really interesting stuff. It's like a cross between calf tail and rabbit fur. In fact, when I first got it, I thought it was rabbit. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull all the fluff out, clean it up a bit, get it ready. We'll prep that up. My doggo's just going crazy back there. He's antsy. Needs a good run, but the weather's been kind of too cold and yeek. Okay, I'm just gonna measure this up here. Looks like we're doing pretty good though. Let's pull a few of the long guys out. There we go. So we're gonna want it right about there. I might even have that to roughly the right size already. Yeah, a little bit more off tip. Pretty good guess though. Okay, so we're gonna bring it up. Okay, we're gonna be cutting that in half. So I'm just binding down the first half. Loose wrap around the top. And then bind it down hard. 2 or 3 wraps so it doesn't move. Hopefully. And then poof, right on top. That actually worked out pretty well, huh? Happy with that. Can't win them all, but you can win a few. Oh. Yeah, I'm not trying to bury this completely in, I just want to get a flatter head here for those hackles. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. You unwieldy little thing, you. There we be. That's nice. Almost reminds me of Dr. Spratly. Okay. Yeah, I woke up this morning with a little bit of tickle in my throat, and it's like, oh no, I don't want to be sick. So we'll see if it turns into anything. Probably nothing though, right? So we're going with probably nothing. Looking for a thinner one. Huh. This one looks pretty good. Yoink. There we go. Last bit of tea. Oh, good stuff. Alright, let's get this tied in. I'm going to strip off a fair bit of this. And this is our last one here, so I'm not going to bother saving these for the tail for the next one. Otherwise I would. If you're tying a bunch of these, you can just... I mean, it makes sense to reuse the bits you're pulling off for the tail, but you can just use one of these and use one feather for all of your tails is another option. As long as it's the right, not so much the right length, but okay, scored that. I'm just going to take a little bit more off the top than the bottom for that first wrap or so. I'll go in with a red. Is this one gonna be a red? Sure, why not? The best one I got here, buddy. Looks like it. Okay. You're a little bit bigger than your counterpart, but you'll do. I'm just gonna hit those up with a Sharpie marker right now because I know they're gonna show through later. There's 2 rachis bits. Might as well hide them now. There we go. A lot better than wasting a ton of thread and crud in your eye for not much anything. Okay, there we are. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the red. Get the yellow worked in. Hopefully we'll have a better luck with the yellow this time. From what I can tell from the original patterns, they would do yellow first and then red, but the yellow was giving us some trouble before, so we are going to stick with this. Get one more in there. Oh. Wow. I was not expecting that to break. Let's try that again. Grab it a little farther down. I thought I had the rachis on there, but I guess I just had fibers. There you go. See, my wife's cooking was making you hungry too. Come on, behave yourself now. I'm gonna try for 3 wraps on this one. Hey, Woos, good to have you in, mate. I'm gonna try for 3 here. I think I'm probably going overboard, but we're gonna do it. Yeah, we like to have breakfast for dinner, so I get my breakfast for dinner. We'll make like a big breakfast, like with the pancakes and the bacon and the sausage and the yada yada, and have it for dinner. And that's been a kind of family favorite for a while. I need to get this thread back up. So we can do that without mucking everything all up. especially with chickens, I mean, we end up with a exorbitant amount of eggs at times, and got to use them up somehow. And all that aside, it's just freaking tasty. Okay. I'm sure a lot of tires probably wrap these together. I could see that. So if you're one of those, fill your boots. Oh, yeah. That's the nice thing is with breakfast for dinner is you can make it a little more on the hearty side, you know? You can add in those things like potatoes and make it like a farmer's, how do you say it now? Skillet, you know? Breakfast skillet. Okay. There. I think she's a little bushier than the last one, but I like that sunburst effect with the yellow and the red is smack on pretty. There we go. Now we'll bend these back, get them into that kind of soft tackle formation. I need to tie that in a little better too as I'm doing it. Well, first, the most important part of that whole process is to tie it to the hook properly, and that can be a bit of a bear at times. Yeah, good to have you in, Tyler. But yeah, the most important part is that you have it secured to the hook properly before you wrap it. A lot of people, that's where the mistake starts. Whew, she's a fluffy one, isn't she? Yeah, I'm happy with that though. That's pretty good. Just gonna get a color in my tie-off points here a little bit. I would, but I gotta start work here pretty quick. This is the last one. We'll hit it up next week, or not next week, tomorrow. If you have any problems with any tying in anything specific, Tyler, let me know and I'll add it in tomorrow. But unfortunately, I got to finish this guy off and get things moving for my work day. Otherwise, I'd be all over it for you. But yeah, the most important part is getting it secured to the hook properly. So whether it's a small, like soft tackle feather like this one, or a next live. There's always the next one. Or a longer one like this. The most important part is that you're connecting it to the hook properly, because if you don't, it's just gonna come out, right? So once you have it connected properly, and there's a number of different ways to do that, then you can worry about the wrapping part. But the connection part dictates a little bit about how you want to wrap it. So there's gobs of little tips I have for that. You too, eh? Always good to see you, Dustin. You have a good day. Enjoy your breakfast, eh? Here we go. Okay, half hitch this guy. There we go. She's looking good, eh? She does look like a sunrise, that's for sure. This would probably actually work a treat early mornings. I think it's an aptly named fly. There we go. Yeah, if you like what you're watching, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. I like that one. That one turned out well. Let's do a little spin and spiel on it. And today in the vise we have a Skykomish Sunrise. This is tied on a size 6 long shank Aberdeen hook. You can tie them anywhere from a size 12 through to a size 2. The tail is a mix of scarlet and yellow hackle fibers. The body is red Fentex with a silver tinsel wrapped up counter wrap. The wing is a white roe deer hair wing on the top. You can use bucktail or polar bear if you have any. The front hackle is a mix of yellow and red hackle fibers tied in wet fly style back with a nice bulbous black head on it. This was originally tied after World War II by George McLeod and was requested by his brother Ken McLeod. It was named after the color of the February sunrises over the Skykomish River, where they would fish for steelhead, trout, brown trout, and everything up and down the inlets. So wonderful little pattern. I really think this would be killer for kokanee as well, and any type of steelhead trout pattern for medium to larger size ones. Add a couple to your box, eh? Wonderful little pattern. Okay, thanks for joining me, everyone. That's the end of the stream here. So we had Dustin in today, we had Ewaz, we had Tyler showing up closer to the end there. Good to have you in, Tyler. We had Casual. And that's it today. Just a little crew today. So that's all good. You're 45 minutes away. Cool, Ewaz. Well, that's your backyard fly then. Quite a few. Actually, the next 4 or 5 flies I'm tying here are all from that Skykomish Valley area. Mostly like steelhead, brown trout streamers, that kind of thing. But they're pretty. I'm enjoying them. They're kind of been a nice little change of pace here. So there you go. Get a little local fly in there for you, boss. See you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks for stopping out.